Hi, this is Nick Reg, physical therapist at Reg Physio. Talking today about 5 things that you want to look at if you're running and you've had a previous knee injury and your knee swells up. So the first thing to look at would be your running cadence or your stride length. So if you're running and you have a longer stride length and you do a heel first strike, that's going to send a little more force up through your leg. So instead, if you can shorten up your stride length and have a little bit faster cadence so you're landing more of a flat foot strike, that's going to allow your body to absorb it a little bit more. Since your knee's going to be a little more bent, you're going to absorb it more through your muscles, and it might put a little less stress on your knee. But what that does do is it puts more stress on your calf muscle. So the second thing to do is look at your calf muscle strength, because if that's weak too and that's not able to absorb the shock, that's going to send more force up through your knee. So to see if your calves are strong, what you want to be able to do is 25 single leg calf raises. So you can hold on to something for balance, not for support, but just to balance. And you're going to go up and down, and you want to be able to do 25, going as high each time as you did the first one. So if you're not able to make it to 25, you might have some weakness in your calf muscles, and that might be part of the reason why your knee is swelling up. Third is your hip strength. So the muscles on the sides of your hips are important for controlling your knee, especially during running. So one thing to look at is just do a squat, and you want to look at where your knees are when you do that squat. Ideally, they should stay in line over your ankles, but if you do a squat and you notice that they're coming in or kind of wobbling back and forth like that, that's probably a sign that you have some weakness in the sides of your hips and that you might want to strengthen your hips up. So when you are squatting or lifting down or picking anything up, what you want to try to do is screw your feet into the floor. That kind of puts your legs in a better position, and that way you're kind of always keeping your knees in that good position and gets your hips used to turning on, those muscles working when you're doing that. If you can squat down okay and your knees are looking pretty good, the next step after that would be to try to do a single leg squat. So if you grab a stool or a chair, something to squat down to, you're going to stand on one leg and try to squat down to that chair or stool. So you're looking for the same thing, that your knee stays over the ankle, that it's not moving in, and that it's not wobbling back and forth too much. If your knee does go in, or it's wobbling a lot, or you can't do it, that might be, again, a sign of some weakness in your hips or your quad. So to build that up would be to do that exercise, but do it from a higher stool or a higher height. So maybe it's just like a quarter and back up. So you're doing it within a range of motion that is tolerable, so it's not painful, and you're also able to do it correctly. If you are having pain, especially with that single leg stuff, what you might try doing is isometrics. So isometrics are where you're working the muscle, but the joint isn't moving. So if you just squat down and hold squat like this would be an isometric, because your quads and your hips are working, but your joint isn't moving. And since you're not moving the joint, that can help with having it be more tolerable and having less pain with the exercise. So that might just an isometric squat might be a way to also build the strength in your hips and your quad, and you can do that at different levels, whatever level is pain-free for you. And then lastly is just your overall balance and neuromuscular coordination control of your leg. So a way to look at that would just be to stand on one leg and balance like this. You want to be able to balance at least for 30 seconds. And if you can't, that might be a sign that you need to work on your balance. And to really work on it, to make it a little tougher, you can take your other leg and go in and out, front and back, do circles, side to side. That's going to really strengthen your foot muscles and your hip to help you be more stable when you are running. One last thing, when you're running too, you want to try to think about keeping your hips and your glutes active. Just think about, as much as you can, it's kind of tough to do, but squeezing your glutes or your butt during the stance phase of while you're running, and that kind of helps just keep your hips active and to help keep your legs in a good position while you're running. So give some of those a try if you're having some pain or swelling when you're running, and let me know how it goes. Thank you.